You can't see me.
Guys, Maverick here, aka Jenkinson Denzel, Southern to some, and today we're here to welcome you to A Beginner's Guide to the Art of People. Why am I holding a pen? Well, this mini doc, I guess you could say, is for people who are up to date on the show, the diehards. They've seen every episode, they follow us on Instagram, they follow us on Twitter, they know everything about the show, all the characters, and one of the first to see the episodes all the time when they're released. This is also for those who've never seen the show ever, and the only thing you know about us is that we're called The Art of People, and I create and direct the show. That's the only thing you know about us. Or even if you just stumble upon this video on the land, ever so growing vast land of YouTube, well then welcome to you too. So basically this video, this mini doc, is for people who are the diehards, who they know everything about it. And this is for those who have absolutely nothing about it. So if you are up to date with the show, you know everything that's going on, well, take this as a refresher course and just like a extra Easter egg video. For those who know nothing about us, take it as a beginner's course, as the title is eloquently and ironically titled. Why did I put like that? And ironically titled. So how this is going to work out is essentially we're going to start with how I came up with the show, the idea, what was the premise of it, the ideas, the inspirations that I had that made me come up with the premise. Then we'll talk briefly about each of the characters and the actors and actresses behind those characters. Then we'll talk about the latest episode, episode 7. We'll go into a little film essay depth and into that, where at that point I'll tell you to pause this documentary, go back and watch 7. You haven't watched 7. Well, I'll tell you to pause this documentary, to go back and watch 4, 5, 6, and 7, and come back to this doc. And then, because we're going to break down episode 7 and go into the hidden meanings and that kind of stuff, I don't want to spoil it for you. And then, at the end of this, I'll reveal the title of the season finale of The Art of People Season 1. But that's then, this is now, and now we're going to start A Beginner's Guide to the Art of People. So I always knew before the intro came in, before the sci-fi themes came in, before about heaven, hell, angels, and all this world came in, I just knew that I wanted, whenever, speaking as someone who doesn't drink, who doesn't smoke, who doesn't do drugs, because I'm straight, it's just a life choice, when I have a really bad day, because I do from time to time, my first instinct is to go to the nearest cinema and just watch a film. I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people who, for them, it's Star Wars or it's Back to the Future. It's like there's a film that just takes them away from their situation, and after they watch that, they just feel more refreshed. And I told anyone who will listen, I'm always fascinated by the fact how like something that's literally just a couple of frames and sound edited together can do that as a human being. You know, fictional characters within a fictional world and within a fictional story can impact a real person in a real world, in a real situation, and make them feel better and more hopeful about theirs. And that is a true gift to not be messed with and to not be misunderstood and to not be underestimated. And I always knew that I wanted a film, a show, or web series of mine to do that. And I knew that it'd be very, very hard to do that while the show was just this comedic spin-off of The Office or this or that. So that's when the idea to come in to start with, okay, The Art of People. Fight monsters, get paid, repeat. These teenagers go and fight these really otherworldly things and deal with these really otherworldly things, but then they ask for a price at the end of the day. What to do to try and make some money and try to, you know, earn a living and not die and starve. And for the midst of that, we have Red, who obviously is trained, and she has a baseball bat with her, who then takes it upon herself to help people, but as a response to getting something in return. For example, in episode 4, we see that she helps this girl called Morales, who is being stalked by her boyfriend, but only because Morales happens to be the daughter of her landlord, and Red, struggling for money, she's very, very behind in her rent. So her deal is, if she helps Morales with her boyfriend, Morales will talk to her dad, aka Red's landlord, to give her a pass about the rent. And it's all about taking that, hey, scratch my back and I'll scratch your back. Like, it's taking away that hero aspect where it's like, I'm gonna do it because it's the right thing to do, and just putting that, okay, I'm gonna do it, but, because I think the minute you say I'm gonna do the good thing, but, that becomes so much more interesting to write about, because it's like it goes from like just black and white to so many colors of the rainbow. And it's from taking, you know, the notion of people and heroes and heroism, but then it's mixing into today's themes. Because let's be honest, someone in their 20s, you know, trying to earn a living, they would do something good, but repeatedly they'd say, okay, all I'm getting in return is bruises and cuts and a banged up body. And, you know, that's great and all, and that looks good on my CV, but, you know, that's not going to pay my bills, that's not going to pay my phone bill, that's not going to pay for the Wi-Fi. And I think that is what makes, that's what I love the most about the show, is that it has these characters who do these good things, but they are very, very flawed. And that's what makes the that's what makes the drama for me. That's what makes it interesting. The fact that they do these things for something, to a means, for an end. And I think that's where the best writing comes from. So then, originally, it's just about these teenagers going through London and trying to navigate and find out themselves while having these supernatural experiences come towards them and being thrown into their lives. So right now, the main story is between Red, and she's now with this kid called 123 Kid, as that's the name that the kid told her. But we find out in later episodes that there's a lot more to this kid than she lets on initial meeting. And then it's basically Red, this girl who was a former cadet who left cadets after her sister died, and is now basically gone into a life of just working in retail and trying to stay low just for her own protection, because we don't know what happened in the past with her, but it's insinuated that there are people out there looking for her. And now she's trying to do that while conversely trying to keep this kid down on the low, because this kid, the minute this kid shows up with her is the minute she gets attacked in her own house, and is the minute this cult is now coming out to her because they want that kid. But then, as like I said, we find out that this kid is there's a lot more to Mr. Eye than this kid is letting on first glance. But the most, our catchphrase, I think, eloquently and accurately is fight monsters, get paid, repeat. And that really sums up the whole premise, where it's Red Banks, Ricochet, Charlie, they are fighting. They are, for lack of a better term, the good guys and the good girls here, but get paid. So it's like, rather than just like get paid as in money, it's like, hey, I will help take down the boyfriend, but I want you to talk to your landlord about the rent. You know, it's like, I'll help you, but scratch my back too, kind of deal, and repeat. So it's like, that's the loop of their life, and it's just about working through like these very adolescent teens trying to find themselves through in London of 21st century, and in the midst of that, having these very supernatural experiences happen to them. And supernatural experiences really make sense once you find out who or what the kid is. But if you're watching this and you're one of the people who haven't seen the episode, I'm gonna keep that as a secret. But yeah, that's essentially it. Fight monsters, get paid, repeat. This is where we need to have a bit more improvisation. So what's gonna happen now, I'm gonna delve into episode 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now primarily what's gonna happen here is you're gonna pause this video, you're gonna save it, or leave a time marker where you left on it, go watch episode 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and now come back, and after that we'll talk about the themes, that kind of stuff. And then yeah, because believe me, this is about to jump to essays and little videos and little breakdowns and meanings about those episodes, so I don't want to spoil it for you. If you're someone who's new, please believe me, trust me, thank you for watching, but pause this video, save it right here, and then go to the playlist which says All the People Season 1 and watch episode 4 to 7, and then come back to this and carry on this documentary, because believe me, you'll be glad that you did. For those of you who have seen those episodes already and you're already up to date and you're like, Jay, I already know, but I already seen the episodes, it's cool, well, enjoy. What is up, Maverick Nation? Maverick back here, and today we're talking about, well, my show, The Art of People. And in the spirit of remaining unbiased and fair, today I'm basically it's not gonna be like my usual video essays. Today we're just gonna talk about my process of making it, and my inspirations and things that I used during the making of or before I started this show, and where I see the characters and what things that I think are key that make us us, and what I have in mind when I'm going through either writing the script or editing it or shooting it, because I cover all those bases. I can't stress enough though, if you have not seen episode 6, there will be obviously spoilers in this, because I'm going to go over the entire, not the entire episode, but more or less a big chunk of the episode, and it spoils a lot of big scenes and moments within the episode. So if you haven't seen it, just let you know that the link to the episode is at the end of this video. But if you don't care, you just want to see how we make it, and you want to see this before you watch the episode, then cool, by all means, be my guest. So yeah, let's start. So this first scene here, does any one of you recognize the music? Anyone? Lo and behold, bing bang boom, Deadpool 2, the No Good Deed trailer. I think it's Dildo Stragons. I love that name. I believe it was the Spider-Man Sam Raimi theme, and no, I wouldn't even dare be using that. But the reason I use this is because the way I like to do these shows or anything that I make, as I like to make, this visual storytelling. I like to, it's a weird term. I haven't found out a real term for it yet, or more, a more punchier term for it, but audio storytelling, where basically I tell a story or I reveal a character's persona through music and the use of music. In this case, learning that using Deadpool's, essentially a Deadpool theme, to reintroduce Charlie Gonzalez, and to insinuate what the character will be. And if you look at Deadpool and you look at Charlie Gonzalez, I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but my direction of where I want her to go is a lot more in the Deadpool aspect of things. So if you look at this scene.
But, okay, so Batman has all those cool things in the house, right? And he has that butler who's like fucking amazing. And then he has Robin who's like his lover, And I'm all for LGBT rights, so like, I'm with Batman. Yeah, okay, Superman, it's like he has his own powers, right. But the thing is, Batman's voice, right? Yeah, thank you. And so, yeah, right. Well, yeah, but Superman, like, he has those glasses and he's changing, and I don't understand. He seems so lonely.
And I see the stark difference between her and now someone like Red. Now, if you look at the shirt Red is wearing, does that shirt look familiar? Worn by Steve Rogers in Captain America. Now, all these things, whether it's the music or a theme used or a piece of clothing that a character's wearing, I know that we've been conditioned that most of these things are just second nature, and that they're picked because they look nice or they look cool. But I'm really conscious of the fact of telling you things about the characters through the littlest detail, through how their hair is positioned, through how they walk, how they talk, how they look at someone, how they get up out of bed in the morning, what they're wearing, especially what they're wearing. And I believe that telling character can be done in many other ways other than just in dialogue and action scenes. It could also be shown in what they're wearing, and the littlest things, like a human being. If you think of any human being, who they are is more than just what they say. It's the way they walk, it's the way they talk, it's what they wear. It's a holistic thing. When I'm making these characters, when I have these characters my mom is shooting, what they're wearing and how they're wearing it as well is a big point. And especially the sound I use when they are present in a scene within the show as well.
Where's your father?
So talking of Red, let's go to Red. Now, this episode really hinges on the dynamic between Red and this kid that's not walking into her life, 123 kid. Now, if we look at Red's character, she has seemingly a much more together life than Charlie has, even though we don't really know much of Charlie as of yet, except for her name is Charlie. But at this point, we see Red's dynamic with the kid. My goal was to create this push and pull effect. I call it the push and pull effect, where essentially we know that the overall arc is to have Red achieve this thing for this kid and to get 123 kid to where to her father and to help the kid. But that's the pull, pulling her in closer to helping her, right? That's a pull. Pull is a good thing, push is a bad thing. But then again, if you pull so much and you have Red and 123 Kid get it on immediately, one thing that has is, I mean, it. How do I describe this? It's not good and it's not bad. It just is. You know, it's either way. Imagine it. The best analogy I can come up with. Imagine if you're making a cake, right? And you have a certain amount of flour, and after you run out of that flour, you can't buy any more. Imagine your flour is how many episodes you have left. And in fact, we have 3 or 4 episodes left of the season. Episode 7, episode 8, and I can't decide if I want to go to 10 or not. If we want to end at 9, I can't decide, to be honest, right now. It's between, but no more than 10. I know that for sure. But the thing is with that, imagine your flour only runs to however long your movie is or however long your season is going to be. And then the flour consists of storytelling beats. One of the storytelling beats here is Red and 123 Kid get along and they have a strong relationship together. Now, if I put that and I use that arc and I make it go boom, first episode she meets her, she loves her, and she's the best friend ever, and she's been waiting for her all her life, then yeah, it's used, and it depending on how I structure and how I write it, cool. It's another beat for you guys to get behind, but it's just another piece of story that I can't go back to. It's you know, it's like, you know the term leaving money on the table, like leaving something in your back pocket. Right now I want to leave this in my back pocket, essentially, where I could use it now at any time. I could say, hey, this is the thing that happens that causes Red and the Kid to really understand each other and like one another and just get on the same page. Or you could let it grow and let that arc stay unfinished and unturned until, say, season finale time, where then we've had time after time, we've had them go on journeys together, we've had them go on adventures together, we've had them go on multiple conversations and multiple riffs, so then their arc is much more richer. If I was to make them get along right now in this episode, maybe there was a way I could have read it and the actors pulled off great and it was a great scene and I edited it great and it would be a great a great scene. Yeah, sure, I could have made it look great, but it's like, you know, it's like taking the cake out of the oven early, you know, like the cake would still taste nice, but then, I don't know, would have been like uncooked in the middle, something like that. You want to leave the cake in there just long enough that it tastes good, but not too long enough where people forget about the arc entirely and they say, hey, why is this happening? Why is she still being mean to her? So speaking of, sorry, I went on it for a bit long. So speaking of push and pull, so the pull was, okay, fine, I'll agree to take it to your father, whoever the hell you are, knowing that this kid isn't all she says she is. The push is where Red really does treat her as, how do I say this, much, I think, a polite version of a disturbance. She treats her as a burden of sorts, and to be honest, she is. I mean, but the sad part of that is until we see the kid, what is Red really doing? Working out, staying fit, cleaning about the house, and she doesn't really seem to be hanging with anyone, just pretty much on her own. So while now planting that seed that Red is someone that probably needs a lot of connection than she's willing to admit, and this kid is, I wrote a post on my Instagram about, because we have our Instagram, Mavericks are at Mavericks are the people, a post where basically said that in body, Red is helping the kid, but in spirit, the kid is helping Red, because Red needs people more than she knows, and that is certainly another arc that I have in mind for her as well. But moving on. Now onto this scene. A lot of you guys enjoyed the scene. Bianca, she's an amazing actress, and what these two did in this scene was great. So this is basically the antagonist and protagonist coming to blow.
What's up, prick? My powers, my rules. You have her, don't you? The police don't have her, and I don't have her. So that means you pricks do.
You think you're taking the kid?
Kid? Is that what she told you? Oh, she hasn't changed a bit. Oh, Red. There's so much you don't know. What if I told you that kid is lying to you? She's a lot more capable than she's letting on. Hell, the only reason I can't stroll right up to your house and bury all of you is because of her. But the biggest secret, she's not just a random kid, Red. She's my sister.
You're lying.
Oh, I got your attention, huh? Look, because I like you so very much, I'm gonna do you a favour. I'll take the little shit off your hands, and me and you will never cross paths again.
No, sir, we won't.
Or we can keep coming back here again and again and again and again and again.
If you look at the way I framed it, we did actually shoot a wide shot and a two shot. Basically, we shot multiple shots, but the reason why I only have the wide shot at the beginning, when you see Red get up and then she can't move because Bianca's using the power on her, and you see this shot is used for basically 85% of the scene, where we're just locked into Bianca's point of view. We can't really see Red. We just cut back every now and then, but you know, a large chunk of the scene is this little tight confined space between Bianca, and I put that there to make the audience member feel how Red felt, because Red couldn't move. Red couldn't, you know, lay a nice smack across the face of this girl as much as she wanted to. And the best way to show that is how I framed the shot and what shot I used. If I put the wide shot out, it would really broaden the scene. It would make it like, it would take you, the audience member, out of the scene and be like, okay, I mean, well, you still be in the scene, but you know what I mean? Like you be in the scene, but not in the scene. So like you're distant away from it. But if I put it, the shot that all you see is Bianca, and you can see Red just by the glimpse of her, but she's out of focus. You really puts you in Red's shoes, and you know how she feels right now. Like this person who's walking about saying whatever they damn, like threatening her, like her life depends on it, and she can't really move, and it just feels just really tight and claustrophobic. And that's why I chose to go with this shot for the entire thing. Also, speaking of what Bianca says, you want your antagonist, like I said in my Logan essay, this whole video essay started, my Logan essay, the antagonist really has to come across as much stronger than the protagonists or the protagonists, and that really is the case with Bianca here, where her threats, how do I say this? Her threats hold weight much more than Red, because Red, the thing here with this is put as much pressure on Red and forcing her to change, and Bianca and her Wyatt family, who is the other, who is the guy you see at the very end. So there's a lot of them compared to just Red. It forces Red to then reevaluate her, the way she sees the world, and what her next step is going to be. And especially with the line she says, hey, for every day that goes by with me not getting this kid, one person's going to die. And that is definitely a scene or a development I'm looking forward to shooting in the next episode. We're going to shoot in the next 2 weeks, I believe, episode 7. But I'm finishing the script this Friday, Saturday. So, yeah, the whole development that, hey, every day that passes, the kid is not given back to me, the kid is not given to me, that day, one person dies. The next day, she's not given back to me. So imagine like a fine on a library book, but except the library book is a kid, and your penalty is a death per day. Now this scene, I actually like this scene because this really puts home the push-pull effect. Now if you see the lines we used, I'm going to mark out the lines for you guys so you can watch.
Kid, a sec. Okay, story time. There once was a show called Recess.
What was it about?
Well, it was about a group of teenagers, and they used to do things together, you know? Some good things and some bad things. But they made enemies, and the enemies wanted to hurt them or come after the people that they cared about.
These kids, were they friends?
No, not at first. Over time. But, my point is...
They stopped them, right?
What?
The kids, they stopped the bad people from hurting the ones they cared about, right?
Look, once we find your dad, I'm out, alright? You go off with him and I'll go and
Do stuff.
yeah, do stuff.
Moments like this, moments like them sitting down just talking about, you know, a classic TV show that was on when Red was a kid and before this kid was even here. Moments like this make that arc inevitably come in full circle so much richer. So my goal is to extend that for as much as I can. Ideally season finale time, we all know that. So yeah, that was the method here. And especially when you see when a kid says this.
Look, once we find your dad, I'm out, all right? You go off with him and I'll go and do stuff. Yeah, do stuff.
Now you look at that smile, and now you look at this. And I kudos to Melanie and Harriet, who is Melanie plays 123 Kid and Harriet plays Red, and these girls are amazing. And yeah, that is a details. When making anything that will last worth the while, I think more than anything, the details must take the forefront. The little moments of intricacies that are missed by the naked eye on first glance. That last piece of dialogue that serves as representation for an entire episode. That one character flaw that embodies the entire show's premise, and just the details. And the details is where I choose to focus on my web series titled The Art of People. Now, episode 7 is titled Wu-Tang Clan. Now, I know the first thought that goes through your mind when you hear that is that there will be an obvious nod to the Wu-Tang Clan. However, I wanted to dig deeper than that. Instead, the title of the episode provides an insight to what or where we are finding these characters. Red, Ray, Ricochet, 123 Kid, Charlie. This episode serves as a formation of the Wu-Tang Clan, the chess pieces all moving closer to one another on the board without them even knowing. There are many ways to show that inevitable team-up coming. Me? I choose the vignette style. The vignette style derives from having multiple stories coexist in one episode. Episode 7 consists of 5 mini sub-stories. 123 Kid's prequel, Red and Ray's conversation, Alexa and Mindy's relationship, Mindy hunted down the crucifix, and Ricochet's debut. Now before you ask, yes, this is very intimidating and very easy to make the episode combust under the pressure of all these stories. In this scenario, themes are your friend. Think of a standard episode as a huge pot of different ingredients, and an overarching theme as the spoon that mixes it all together. Now, just because you mix a couple of ingredients doesn't mean it will taste good, or well, you know, flow. So the trick is to have each mini story have a hint of the theme within each sub-story. The theme of this episode is mystery. So each sub-story had to either be about, resolve, or contain an act of mystery. 123 Kid's prequel is about how Earth is a mystery to her. Red and Ray's conversation is about Red taking action because Red sees the mystery of the unknown as a bad thing. Mindy and Alexa's relationship seems rocky because Alexa's keeping secrets from Mindy, so she's being mysterious. Topped off with the mysterious debut of Ricochet Daniels. Now, not every scene had to hit you over the head with, hey, this is about mystery, but it had to contain it in some way or some form. That's why you guys said it flows so well, it had a good pace, only because the theme was consistent. If each sub-story had a different message to tell, with 5 sub-stories, you would not be praising the pacing, trust me. Now, let's move on to another technique used in the episode, visual comedy. Visual comedy is finding a comedic moment from something as simple as the staging. This is used multiple times in the episode. 123 Kid stops jumping. Red continues to glare without saying a word. 123 Kid slowly picks the pace back up. Slow, showing no remorse. 123 Kid stops jumping. Red continues to glare at her. Red continues to glare at her without saying a word. 123 Kid slowly picks the pace back up. She picks it back up, and she carries on jumping, showing no remorse. There's a different way I could have done this with dialogue. Red tells her to get off, she says no, blah 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 blah, she carries on jumping. 123 Kid is having fun, Red is annoyed. However, that can be shown visually. The main premise to show in this main scene is that 123 Kid is having fun, Red is not. Now I could write lines and lines of dialogue about trying to get off the bed in the first place, or I could just show it in staging. Moreover, when Mindy returns empty-handed with no crucifix, no Red, nothing, she's afraid to walk back empty-handed to Alexa because she knows Alexa will play mind games or become very, very infuriated with her. Do you remember my It Follows essay? The attention meter? Okay, I'll show you this. See, the same thing here. The long shot of her walking is to put the viewer in Mindy's shoes, drawing out the tension. Now, onto a speed run of hidden meanings. Now, the opening scene is set to Toto's Africa. Africa has multiple meanings to this song because Toto explains how it was about a boy who loved a girl, yet they were separated by the distance and how far they were from each other. A little role reversal here, but in this case, 123 Kid is that boy, Earth is the girl that is far away. Furthermore, the shots that are used in the beginning sequence are used to emphasize Heaven's beauty, the same beauty Africa shows. Africa is one of the most exotic and beautifully stunning places on the planet, so I wanted to really get that across with this song and with the shots used. Now, Earth Mix 1, Awesome Mix Volume 1. Both mixes are about Earth. One from a stray human living in space from Earth, one from an overzealous angel wishing to go to Earth. Beans and Greens, a real juice store here in Kingston upon Thames, lovely people. Ricochet Daniels, Star-Lord. Wow, Red used to work in retail. My heart goes out to her. Well, I guess someone's dying in the next episode. I wonder who it could be. I mean, it's not like I left a huge clue in the opening front you see at the beginning. It's not like you could go by and slow down the beginning of this opening crawl and see if you can find a name hidden within, or two names hidden within that opening crawl. I mean, it's not like I did that. You know, why would I do that? Going into these final episodes, I just wanted to take a minute to thank all of you that watch and to let you know how to stay up to date on anything and everything on the show. On Facebook, it's TAOP Official. TAOP Official on Facebook. Instagram, it's Mavericks Art of People. So MAVRIKS Art of People. On Twitter, it's The AOP Official. The AOP Official. And I believe that's what we have. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for all the support on the show. Be sure to share with your friends, to let everyone know about it. I do promoting and marketing by myself, so as much as you can, if you want to help by spreading the word as much as you can, that would mean the world to me and do me a huge favor, believe me. And thank you so much, and keep up to date. And yeah, you know the links below to keep up to date with the show. And thank you. And plus, hey, don't ever feel bad about giving me constructive criticism on how to improve the show, because as I say all the time, this channel is your channel, this show is your show. It is as much as mine as it is yours. So we work on this together. And thank you so much for checking it out. Be sure to share it and like it and spread the word about it like wildfire, and help me out and help me get the word out of the show so this can go on a bigger platform. And yeah, thank you. You know how this ends. I'm Maverick, you're awesome, and we are Maverick Studios. Fight monsters, get paid, repeat. That's our slogan, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, see you later.
And that is where we leave part 1 of the Beginner's Guide to the Art of People. So this is essentially where we just talked about, for you, if you didn't know anything about us, from ground 1, from like point 0, just getting to know where we are. Part 2 will be about the cast members, the actors, the actresses, and just all about how the casting and a few more behind the scenes kind of deal. And then part 3 will be all of it put together in a nice little bow, and I'll come around the season finale time. So look out for part 2 after episode 8 is released, and look out for the final part 3 of this documentary series to release around season finale time, so August-ish time. But like I said, season finale, The Art of People. We already know episode 4, A New Hope. Episode 5, Ready Player One. Episode 6, Murder to Excellence. Jesus, that was a while I shot that go. Murder to Excellence. Episode 7 just passed, Wu-Tang Clan. Episode 8, Ye Who Enter. And I can explain that Ye Who Enter, I can explain that Ye Who Enter is because in the Bible it's quoted that the gates of hell, before you enter, the gates of hell have the sigil explained, abandon all hope, ye who enter. And that is, as I always want my episodes to not just be flashy titles, I wanted to speak about what actually happens in the episode. This episode is literally all of the characters that you love. Red, Ricochet, 123 Kid, so on and so on. They are put in a situation, without going into too much, where they, and I'm not just saying it to be cute, they literally go through hell. And for those of the cast members you're watching this and you've read the script, you've read some, a bit or some treatments of the script, you know exactly what I mean. And one of them does go, one of them does not make it into the finale, and that is really the sum up of Ye Who Enter, where it's literally like Alexa and her crew really come to the forefront and they really get an upper hand on this episode. And then we'll have the prequel episode. I will not reveal the name of it right now, but the prequel episode will be episode 1 to 3, which were out already, which I did way back when, edited together. Episode 1 to 3, and then some extra shots to make it in all as one episode. That'll be the prequel episode, and then we'll have the finale. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, prequel episode, finale, 9. So in total, it'll be 9 episodes altogether. So, yeah. Thank you. Oh, why are you still watching the video? Are you gonna like click off, go watch something else, like Conor McGregor, Mayweather press conference, something like that? Okay,
Go. Dude, seriously, go. I need to pack up the tripod and everything. I've got places to go to. Seriously, go. What do you... Oh! I get it. How could I forget? Oh yeah, you want to find out the name for the season finale of Our People, don't you? Well, we're not going to tell you, so unlucky. Okay? Fine, but you got to promise, don't tell anyone. I don't want anyone to find out about this. That's why I'm putting it on YouTube and on the internet. I want no one to find out about it, alright? You promise? I mean it. Especially you, Manly. I mean it. Okay? Alright. Tell no one.
So, why can't I go on the expedition?
We're not having this conversation. Earth 606. They're complicated.
I see that look in your
So, the moment of the hour, Red.
Feel the fury closing.
What, you think this is easy for me? Do you? 6 months ago I was working in retail and my biggest worry was that my stupid douchebag of a manager was going to get off his ass and help me.
She's a stubborn little prick now. That has to change, doesn't it?
Look, once you find your dad, I'm out, alright? You go off with him and I'll go and do stuff. Yeah, do stuff.
Madness, madness.
We only taking what was ours.
This man has no debt.